Okay, so we're going to be doing an ear training lesson today. We're going to be listening to a track and trying to pinpoint exactly when certain musical events happen. And we're going to talk about each of those three musical events first. The first event is called the harp arpeggio. The second is the drum cadence. And the third is the transition from major to minor. So these are all concepts that we haven't been introduced to yet, but we're going to learn a little bit about them today. The main focus, though, instead of understanding what all three of those things are, is more so being able to listen to a piece of music and pick out specific things about that music. So that's what ear training is. Sometimes it's being able to pick out a certain melody or a certain theme. Sometimes it's being able to pick out a certain chord progression. So it really all depends on your experience. And these three things, they're going to be pretty obvious. So that's why I picked them. So the first event that we're going to be looking for is called an arpeggio. And an arpeggio is a chord that is played one note at a time. And it could be played either from the bottom up, which is called ascending order, or from the top down, which is called descending order. So this picture that you can see on my screen here starts up high and then comes down low. That is descending order. If it started down low and then went up high this way, then it would be ascending order. So we're listening for the harp arpeggio. A harp is an instrument. It is very similar to a piano, except instead of hitting a key that then strums or hits the hammer that hits the string, you're actually just plucking the string, kind of like a guitar. The March of the Candy Cane Soldiers includes an arpeggio in the harp. An arpeggio is a chord separated into its separate notes. In this example, you can hear a C major chord played C, G, E. Arpeggiated chords are usually used as an accompaniment figures to the melodic line. Accompaniment means not the melody, the supporting harmony. So we're going to go ahead and listen to this track, and we're listening to arpeggio track. So let's give this a listen. Okay. Let's listen to it one more time. You can hear it starting up nice and high and coming down low. I'll try to show that. All right. So that is our arpeggio. That's the sound clip that you're going to be listening for. Let's keep going. The second event is called a drum cadence. So a drum cadence is a repetitive rhythmic figure, and it's performed on percussion instruments. So, for example, if you continued to repeat something, over and over, that would be called a drum cadence because it's rhythmic. There's no notes involved, and it's the same rhythm over and over again. Drum cadences have military roots and are used to keep soldiers marching in sync. To help keep a steady beat, the downbeat, which is beat 1, is usually played by the bass drum and or the cymbals. The snare drum can have a more complicated rhythmic figure over the top. In this example, the snare drum is playing a simple triplet rhythm. Triplet is ba 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 ba. So let's listen to this. This is the other sound clip. This is what you're going to be listening for in the song. Okay, we're going to listen to it one more time. This time try to follow along with the actual line here. I'll try to use my cursor to help you follow. Okay. So that is the drum cadence. That's the second thing to listen for. And the third thing to listen for is the transition from major to minor. Now, this is just the general sound of the song, and you can really hear it and consider it like a feeling. So major keys have a bright, happy sound. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you would be a major song. Minor keys, minor songs, have a darker or sadder sound. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. A little different. All that I'm changing is one note there, and that's what makes it major or minor. Relative minor is a little bit more specific than just happy or sad. Relative minor is the minor key that shares the same notes as the major key. So that's really kind of an additional little fact there that you don't need to worry about. It doesn't matter as far as sound goes. It just means it changes in sound from happy to sad. So almost any song will travel from one scale to another scale, from one key to another key. This keeps a song sounding fresh and exciting, and sometimes gives a song a different overall feel. In March of the Candy Cane Soldiers, there are a few changes of scale and key. In this example, you can hear the progression from C major, and the progression just means the change, from C major to A minor. So that's major changing to minor. And that other tidbit is A minor is the relative minor of C major, meaning they have the same notes. You can hear the overall sound go from a happier, lighter feel to one that has a little bit more mystery and even a little bit of melancholy. So this one, there's not really something for you to see. There's no visual. It's all about the sound and the feeling that goes with the sound. So let's listen to the track. All right. So it's a little bit hard to pinpoint exactly where that change happens because it's a transition, not just a flip. Now we're in minor. It's like we're in major, Oh, we're starting to get a little bit of minor sounds in there. Oh, and now we're in minor. So it's a transition. Let's listen to it one more time and see if we can hear once we're fully in minor. Okay. So that is the third event. Just to review, the three events are the arpeggio, coming down in the harp, drum cadence, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, 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 bum, bum. That sound, we're listening for that. And finally, that change from major into minor, that transition. So now we are going to listen to the full track. And I would like for you to take notes of the times that each event takes place when you hear each thing happen. And then we're going to share that afterwards. So you all have your computers, so you can just type it there, but otherwise you can write it with a pen and paper. And I'll just ask you guys to share afterwards. So the full song, here we go. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the different times that these events happened. Now, just to tell you, there are multiple times where the drum cadence comes in. There's only one harp time. And as far as I could hear, there was only one time where it transitioned from major into minor. So let's talk about the drum beats first, because I at least found two different places where the drum cadence came back. So I can't see your faces, so feel free to just start talking. Where did you see the drum cadence, or hear it rather? Was anybody able to hear where that drum cadence, that bump, 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 came through? Okay, well, I will back it up to those two places that I marked, so maybe you guys can hear it. The first time was at 135. So right about here. Okay, so that was the first time that I heard it. The second time that I heard a drum cadence was at around 3:30. You can really hear it in the bass. And that was the end of the song. So there's those two places where the drum cadence came in. Can anybody tell me where the single harp arpeggio, coming from a descending arpeggio, came in? Well, let me restart the song. And let's listen to the very first thing we hear. Listen out for that very first instrument. Okay. So in that first 12 seconds, what we have is the harp, and it starts up really high, it comes down, goes a little bit higher, comes down again, a little higher, until it kind of mellows out, and then it's playing along with the flute. Let's listen to that one more time again, so you can really hear that arpeggio. There we go. So I would say that that one took place at the very beginning of the song, or you can say the first second of the song. And finally, we have the change. Now, this is really the hardest one because it's from changing from that happy sound into that sad sound, but it's not necessarily like such a drastic, like, oh, I'm so happy and I'm all happy, and then no, I'm so sad. It's not that drastic. So this one is hard. Was anybody able to pinpoint where that happened? All right, I understand that one because that one is a little bit more challenging. That one happened at minute, what was it? Oh, second 46. So I'm going to start it a little bit before. Let me start it at 30, where we should still be in major. And then we're going to listen through until probably like minute 1. So 30 seconds. By minute 1, we should be fully in minor. So let's listen. So happy to sad. There it is. Yes. All right. So right at the end there, I actually would even say it's a little past 46 where it happens, where you finally fully feel like boom, 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 boom. There's this totally different feel. Let me pull it back just a tiny bit so I can point it out again. There it is right here. So that was more at like 57, but that's okay. Okay, so that was our ear training for today. To end out, I'm going to play through this song one more time. Please do listen for those 3 time frames. So right at second 1, we've got the arpeggio. At minute, or I guess second 50-ish through 1 minute, we have the transition from major to minor. And then both at minute 135 and 330 is where we have those 2 drum cadences. So let's listen one last time before we finish today. Okay, friends, and that is it for our class today. I am going to stop the video so that we can end with any questions and comments.